Hello, friends. Welcome everyone to the fourth episode of the second season of this podcast, Deimos Orbitando. This is the very first time we will do the podcast completely in English. This as we're trying to open ourselves into new horizons, inviting musicians from all over the world. We already started with this with Christian in the first episode. He's from Argentina, but today we have a really special guest, born in Bainbridge, Washington. He learned guitar from his cousin when he was 12. He played in few bands in high school as well as the high school jazz band. During undergrad, he played in a couple of bands as well. However, the most consistent was the Genghis Khan Artist. They would play shows and open mics around Seattle. It was a three-part group with his friends Adam and Gordon. Afterwards, he started his solo project he has been calling Coda, Wassie, named after the canyon he visited in Peru back in 2015. Since then, he has released 4 albums under that name, including the most recent work, Kettle Drums and Honeybees, which he released in early January this year. Most of the songs were ones that he wrote during the lockdown, when he had much more time to work on music. Currently working in few material and excited about some of the new scenes he has recently started using. Please welcome, directly from Davis, California, Robin Stewart.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for that introduction.
Yeah, I think it was really complete, right?
Yes, from beginning to end.
Yeah, well, about your career, I mean, we spoke about your music, but we understand that you're also a really good scientist, right?
Oh, I hopefully we'll find out. Yeah.
So we have the understanding that you're biochemistry, right? Would you mind sharing a little about that?
Yeah. So I study. Well, actually, what I study is it's kind of like a combination between biochemistry and neurobiology. So I study. They're called ion channels, and they are what generate the electrical signals in your neurons that produce, or that is what allows you to think and respond to like stimuli, and like, you know, is kind of the underlying reason for like consciousness and all that kind of stuff, which I always thought was neat. But it's the questions that's like a big question, and the questions that we that we go after in our lab are much more narrow and focused. Specifically, one of the things that we've worked on is developing a tool for measuring the activation of voltage-gated ion channels, and we did that by using a tarantula toxin that binds. It binds in a state-dependent manner. So when the channels are not active, it'll bind to the channels, but when the channels become active, it'll dissociate. And so we can see when the channels become active based on whether or not that toxin is bound. And we do that by conjugating a fluorescent probe to the tarantula toxin. And so you can actually, with fluorescence microscopy, you can see when the tarantula toxin is associated to the membrane and when it diffuses away into the solution surrounding it. So that's one of the main projects that we work on in our lab.
That's
okay.
amazing,
Man. Yeah. Well, I mean, sounds really interesting. Of course, there's much of that I didn't catch, but
I was trying to. It's hard to talk about whenever anybody asks about, or in grad school, a lot of people are like, when you ask about your research, it's like, let's see.
Yeah, I mean, we see because we know you a few, that you're besides a musician and the whole scientist piece is like, whoa, he's a really complex and complete person, right? So I mean, that's how we see you, right? We see you like, okay, we see the musician piece, we see this and we admire you for that, and we also see that you're the scientist, so whole picture. But how does Robin sees himself?
Right. I think I would say I see myself as too many hobbies. Trying to keep focused on something specific, And I mean, I guess that is for me the science and music side are really like complementary. I don't know if they kind of fuel one another independently, but essentially like my days go like doing science during the day and writing music at night is mostly what I do. And so I'd say that's kind of how I see myself. And it's hard to see the direct overlap between them, but sometimes like there's a class that I'm TAing where we're talking about like audio information and how you actually receive that in your brain and interpret it and whatnot. And so there's like a lot. In some respect, there's crossover like that. The funny weird crossover, I've been getting really into like looking at synthesizers recently and how to really create really unique sounds with synthesizers. And there was this really funky crossover that I found that's with the amplifiers that we use to record electrical currents in cells are very similar to like analog synthesizers in some respects. Not really, but like they use there's a lot of similar nomenclature between the two of them. And so for one thing I've really wanted to do is try and listen to the electrical signals that are in your cells and make like an audio form of that. It's like been a like goal of mine for like way too long, and I'm like I really want to like see what a single ion channel would sound like if you could put that through a synthesizer.
Okay, yeah.
That went way off topic from your original question. Sorry.
No, I got that. But one of the questions or probably doubts that I had when we were writing the interview is that if there was somehow connection between your music and what you do in the mornings. Let's say. Now that you're commenting this, I see that there is, right? At least during this piece of your composition and your new music, you're trying to get that piece into your music.
Yeah, and I feel like it's like even if the music side doesn't specifically fuel, even if it's not like, if there isn't a direct correlation, it's just like your brain's like a muscle, and you gotta work like however you're working it. Like music is like working one side of it, and then like science is working another side of it. So it can kind of feel to me, because like you can be exhausted, at the end of the day from like working on like science related stuff. But for me, then switching to like doing music, it kind of like feels like a fresh start, and like you're just kind of still using your brain, but in like a totally different way. And so I feel like there is some weird synergy going on there, like some kind of funky synergy. So I don't know what it is. And to answer your earlier question about how I see myself, I feel like often when you see someone, like when you look at their Instagram profile and whatever, like know them from the outside, it's very easy to make to misconstrue them as being like, they're in this like perfect world and doing stuff like that. But, I make a lot of mistakes too, all the time.
But that's part of the process, right?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, no one's perfect kind of thing.
Well, tell us, for example, Emilio said in the beginning that you started playing the guitar when you were 12, right? But how does that love for the art come from? When did you decide that you wanted to play music, to learn how to play music, yes?
No, that's a great question. I guess it was kind of when I was 12. I really love my cousin Daniel. If you ever watch this, love you. And he was very inspiring for like, because he really introduced me to like a lot of music early on, which I just thought was super interesting, and showed me just like cool bands and whatnot. And so that's where it started, but it was a continual, I feel like music is just a continual process, you never, the more that I continue to do it, the more I want to do it, if that makes sense. It's like there wasn't one specific point that I was like, yes, I want to be a musician. It was just kind of like something. It always felt like it was something that I just had to do, if that makes sense. Yeah. It's just like I don't really care if anybody listens to this or not. It's just like a lot of it's for me, I guess, is what I would say. It's kind of like my it's like my me time in a lot of ways, because it's like just a great way to create. There was one thing that I remember. It was a guy who talked at, I think it was at our middle school, and he was a Nobel laureate like scientist that was like came to like give a talk because his grandson went to our middle school, and so we got like super honored to like have him come and talk. And one of the things that he said that really struck me, I mean, because he was a scientist and he was saying this, was that he was talking about how like Einstein was a great scientist. And he really accomplished a lot for the scientific world, but 100 other scientists would eventually have discovered what Einstein found, because science is like, you know, this kind of pursuit of like truth and empirical testing of things, and so it's this progress that you eventually make. And so, you know, scientists that do things like, yes, there are scientists that were incredible scientists that push the fields like way forward, like such as the case of like Einstein. But that's just like, you know, it's just like the discoveries that will be made. Whereas this guy, this Nobel laureate that was talking about music, he was like, if Beethoven had never existed, like Beethoven's Ninth Symphony never would have existed. And so for music, like it's such an interesting and cool creative process. That what you create, regardless of, you know, how well known you are for it or whatever, you're just creating something new that wouldn't have existed. And that's kind of like a cool part of like humanity, that like we were able to like express ourselves like that. And that's true I feel like that's true with all art, you know, in general. And just one reason that was that like really inspired me to like just keep doing music.
Yeah, that it's like a kind of self-discovering yourself, but in that way that many other people find identified with that feeling, right? Yeah, so yeah, it's totally something new. And well, science, it's something that always sits there, but you need to find out, to discover, right?
Mm-hmm.
But music, it's totally something new that you need to create. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, if the person there doesn't exist to create it, it never happens. It never. Yeah. So that's just kind of like a beautiful aspect of music that I've always thought about. And it's always inspired me. And also, it's just kind of like it's one of those things that I love, just because the more you do it, the more you like fall in love with it, kind of thing. The more you like admire like other people that do it really well, and the more you want to like, you know, when you actually create a song that you're like, oh, like this, I actually like this, you know, this is actually something great. It's a really great feeling. So that's, again, like I was saying, a lot of it it's just something that I do for myself, kind of. It's like a selfish endeavor at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when did you really feel that the compromise was like real with the music? Like you started like taking it more real, more passionate. I don't know how to say it. Like, well, the compromise was bigger.
Right. Like, when did I start really like focusing on it? And I don't know if I could nail that on like a single moment, because again, like I said, it's just something I've always felt like I just needed to do. You know, it was just like a creative outlet of like, just like, if I stopped playing music, I would just be like, like I don't know, it's just like, it'd just be like losing like a part of you, you know, kind of like thing. And so but I guess like more specifically, the band I played with in college was like a great experience, just because it's all like playing shows. It's just super fun. And when you have like a bunch of your friends over and you're playing like a house show or something like that, it can just be super fun, and that like just kind of like brings a lot of energy to it that can be really great. I feel like I really enjoyed, because there's like playing music with like your friends and doing lots of like band practice and practicing all the time, but recording is a huge challenge. You know, you always have you can have a group, and then you like sound great like on the stage, and you sound great, you know, when you play these shows, and then you go to record it and you're like, oh gosh, like this is terrible. Like this is not what I wanted it to be at all. You know, like this is very far from what I envisioned when you listen to it back, or like what I hear when I listen to it. And so I feel like I really started developing better skills for recording when I started doing solo stuff, because and actually like writing as I recorded music, because just having that like control over every part, and it's just like it's a little overwhelming, because it's just like, oh my gosh, like writing this entire song is gonna take so long. Like I know it's gonna take like forever to write every part and get it together, but then you really like can work on how does like putting together like a sound in general, and seeing like, maybe this is too much, having like all of these parts here, so maybe like let's cut this and this part. And so it's really finding like a good balance. It's I've heard there's a lot of interviews that I've heard where people will describe writing music in that form like a puzzle, and it took me like a little while to get that. And I think as I've like started to get more into recording, it's like you really do start to see writing music as like a puzzle that you are putting together, where you're like, okay, I have these pieces, and like when you're like, I need to like take this out and put this here and mix all these things. But then once you get it, you're like, you can be like, oh yeah, like that's what I was going for. Because that's what I like about the recording aspect of it, is that you can really think about whether you can constantly listen to your song and be like, okay, yeah, like how does this sound, instead of having to, like, when you're performing and playing in a group, there's like the technical aspect of it, of like actually being able to play it well and how you want to play it, but then there's the other aspect of stepping back and looking at it and being like, okay, is this good? Like, is this something that I like? Or is this something that I enjoy listening to? And so that the recording side of it, I feel like when I started recording a lot of stuff and just like, recording and then like putting together full songs, what helped a lot was getting a drum machine. Sorry, drummers. I love you. You're better than all drummers are better than a drum machine. But like, if you want to do, I can't. Having a whole drum setup and recording drums is incredibly hard. And drum machines are like a really easy sidestep around that, where you can get like nice sounding drums that are like really fat and like low sounding, and not necessarily have to do that. So yeah, I think I would say, yeah, that was probably like, those were kind of like the stages. I would like break it up, instead of like one defining part, I would say those are like the stages of like development.
Right, and you mentioned that to record a song or even the create piece of writing it, composing, can drive you to whatever you want it, or as you map it in your head. But sometimes, or at least that has happened to us, is that you drive to another way that you were not even trying to, right? Sometimes you get to somewhere you were not even planning to. That's something weird that happens. But yeah, I mean, that's how it works.
Totally. I think that's a great point, because that is kind of, I think, the magic behind like music sometimes, is that it just comes from somewhere. Like, yeah, sometimes that direction is just like, who really wrote this song? Like, I don't know where this idea came from. Like, it just is like, maybe sometimes you made like a mistake and that's why sometimes for me recording it is great, because you're like, whoa, like I didn't mean to do that there, but that actually sounds a lot better. And we do it that way. Or like, if you, sometimes I feel like, you don't want to be when you're writing a song, you don't want to be too focused on being like, it has to sound exactly like this, because sometimes taking that to a totally different direction can be like an awesome way to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes happens the opposite, right? You have a great idea and something really bad happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That tends to happen more often than the later. Yeah. Like you have I feel like it tends to be more often that. And yeah, like when you have a song and you've listened to it a million times, you're just like, what? Like, I don't even know, like, if this is good. Like, I have no reference. Like, because, if you listen to any song, like, 200 times, you just like eventually it's just gonna be like, okay, like I can't. So that's kind of always my metric, is like, if I've listened to this about 200 times and I can still stand it, like it's probably okay. Like it's probably all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and coming back to another comment that you made on that when you're writing, it's more likely for yourself, or kind of in a selfish way. But who or what do you think would be the biggest inspiration for you to keep writing your music?
Other musicians, absolutely. Like other music, like all the biggest inspirations for me are absolutely like just like listening to other musicians, because it's just like, and maybe it is like just a cycle of this, but like whenever I listen to other musicians, it's just like I'm just like never gonna get there. Like never, like I'm never gonna get that good. Like that's just crazy. Like I don't know, some of the specific inspirations, and specifically for like solo artists that I really admire, because that's kind of like more a lot of what I've been doing, are like Kevin Parker from Tame Impala. Just like I didn't know for the longest time that it was just him that wrote and like did like all of his pieces, and then when I heard that, I was just like, oh my god, like that's amazing. Like just there's a great video on YouTube that's just a jam that he did by himself, where he just had a video on, and it's just like he's in this like awesome like house by like the ocean, and he just has all of his equipment like set up so that he can loop stuff, and it's just him walking around this house and just recording, records a bass part, like loops it, and then goes like brings on a synth, like loops that, goes to like a drum set, like plays like a drum beat, and then like loops that, and then just like puts together this just incredible like sounding thing. And he's just so talented, like so crazy talented. And then similarly, the other one would be Mac DeMarco, or if you've heard of Mac DeMarco. He like similarly, he did the same thing where he just recorded, and I think like seeing them do that was like, it was like the kind of inspiration for me to be like, oh, like you can just be a solo artist and like write like and record all your parts. And not to say that I don't like value, because working in groups has a lot of its advantages as well. Especially one of which is you get other feedback about your music, which is like super valuable, because you're just like can be like, maybe I'm just crazy, like maybe this is just really weird, and so having that like outside feedback can be awesomely valuable. But I guess it was just really inspiring to me to see people. Oh, the other one, St. Vincent, Annie Clark, in St. Vincent, I saw her play a show where she actually toured, and it was just her like on stage, which was just like the most amazing like baller move. Because it's like being on stage, it's like you got to be big and like entertaining, and like when it was just her, and she just like totally killed it, like being just her on stage with like a lot of stuff pre-recorded, but still like was just such an awesome force on stage, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah, something that we as Deimos hear more really often is that how can a band be just two persons? But in your case, for example, you call yourself a band, Coda, Wassie, right? But it's one person. But I think that really cool bands, or even solo artists that record themselves alone, are really good. Speaking, you mentioned Kevin Parker, Mac DeMarco, but I also had in mind Dave Grohl when he started Foo Fighters, or Damon Albarn with Gorillaz. Their projects are completely awesome, and they just started by themselves, recording, creating, composing, and everything. So I think, by doing it, not just the band, but themselves, I think it probably not has more value, but somehow we can admire them differently than the whole band.
Right, because it is just like, sometimes I feel like in bands, you get this whole like controversy of like, there's like the front runner of the band, and they're like, how much like do they do everything, or is it like and really it is like a combination of like a lot of other people that like come together, and that's like super cool. And when you can collaborate like that, that's just amazing, and like you can do really amazing work like that. I feel like the best example is Arcade Fire, who has like 1 million members in it.
Oh yeah.
And they just like make it work, and they write like the best like songs like all the time, and they just have some amazing like creative process where they're able to actually functionally work with each other, which is just awesome. But yeah, it's just different, it's like a different aspect when it's like one person versus many. Yeah.
Yeah. And well, coming back to what inspired you and such, what would you think is the biggest support you have to keep working your music, if it's any?
The biggest, what was that? Sorry, the biggest
support.
Support.
It can be yourself, actually.
Yeah. The biggest support. That is a good question. I don't know. That's like, I feel like I really value like whenever anybody like you guys, like anybody listens to it, I'm like, thank you, like that's awesome. Like I'm super appreciative of that. That definitely is that is definitely very like awesome support, or like people that are just interested in listening to it and whatnot. Anyone that shows like interest is super super kind of like keeps you going, and also just like being like fortunate enough to be able, because a lot of the stuff with music, it takes so much, it's so expensive for a lot of stuff, and it's like a lot of the equipment is like so expensive, so I feel like I'm very fortunate to have been able to like collect a lot of stuff over my lifetime that I have like valued, and so that's something I'm very, very thankful for, is just being able to people that have supported me in that sense, like like your parents like buying you your first guitar kind of thing, like that's just like that's just awesome, that someone can give you something like that, because without that it's just a thought in your head.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Well, moving to another topic, you said like you consider yourself as the man of the 1,000 hobbies, right?
No, God, yeah, too many.
It's a joke, but what did you actually enjoy doing in your free time? For example, we also know that you enjoy doing photoastronomy, that you kindly let us use the photos to use it in our EP, in our third EP, and the covers in this podcast. But yeah, tell us about these hobbies. What do you enjoy doing in your free time? Is this a hobby, or do you consider it like another
one
thing?
step further?
Yeah.
Right. No, that's a good question. I guess I haven't like really, with music, I haven't really actively, because I always hate this. This is like the people always talk about with music, you should spend, a third of your time creating, and then like 2/3 of your time promoting it, which is totally true. Like, I mean, like, it's like, there's like, and that is like just a fact of the like industry and working at that. And I'm just really bad at that second. I'd say I spend like 99% of my time creating and like 1% promoting it. And so it's like, it's definitely like an important aspect, or like of doing that. And so for me, like, as far as music, I guess that's why I still consider music a bit of a hobby, just because I'm bad at the business side of it. I'm really bad at the actual like promoting myself side of it. But the other hobbies that I love to do is I love astrophotography. Is great when I can get out to do it with taking pictures of space. I just think it's amazing that you can even do that these days, with it's not terribly difficult, and you just have to like have the time and patience, definitely, to find stuff. But space has some amazing things in it. Like, just going through the Hubble Space Telescope pictures are just incredible, and it's so cool. to be able to take those out, or take it out and like show people, especially when there's like cool astronomical events occurring. And honestly, like with those telescopes, the best thing to look at is the moon is usually the coolest thing to look at, because it's just like so cool and awesome. All the pictures that I think that you guys have used, and yeah, like definitely free to use them. They're awesome. Oh, of course, yeah. And but those, when you look through the telescope, that's not what you see for like any of those. Like those are like really long. They're like 3-hour exposures of that thing, and those colors are real, but your eyes just aren't sensitive enough to see it. If your eyes were sensitive enough to see it, you'd be blind like 90% of the time, because everything would be so bright like constantly, because it's just very low light. But all the colors that are present there are actually real visible light colors. Your eyes just aren't sensitive enough to detect the amount of like low emissions that are coming from like either nebula or galaxies and stuff like that. I was just in Joshua Tree like a month or two ago with my friend Eric, and that was one of the first times that I really got it somewhere dark. And there was a really cool nebula. It's called the Orion Nebula that we could look at through the telescope, and that you actually could see like a little bit of like color in that one, which was cool, which was so cool, just because it was just like, whoa, like that's like a really bright and like awesome looking one. But the other hobbies that I like to do, I love hiking. I love and being outdoors, like checking out mountains and stuff like that. That's always just, there's just so many, the national park system is just amazing, and all of the places that you can see and hike to are just like super amazing. And I also like to ski sometimes when I can also get the chance to do that. But yeah, just getting outside is really nice, especially during coronavirus times. When you're stuck inside all weekend, you're just like, oh god, gotta get out of here. Like it's So that's been a lifesaver for sure.
Well, there are actually things that are very. You get a lot of inspiration on it, right? And you enjoy doing it. Actually, your work, your studies, the science, you get a lot of inspiration on that, and that's very, very, very important. At the moment when you write music, I think all of that comes to mind, and maybe it is easier, yeah, but it is really cool.
Yeah. No, totally. I would say that you do definitely get. I mean, there is 100%. There was a song that I wrote last summer that was called Blue Green Shoes. That was about me and my friend Eric. Again, we're backpacking, and it was just like I was looking at this lake, and it was just like this beautiful like blue green color, and I was just like, I need to write a song about that. Like, there was a great. David Byrne from the Talking Heads. He does this awesome interview where he's talking. I think he's interviewing himself. Like he's just like he's like talking to himself in this really like crazy interview. But he's talking about how he's just like, a lot of people write songs about love and stuff like that, but love is too complex. Like that's crazy. Like I don't know how you write something about that. I want to write a song about water, like, or like, something like, it's like, I want to write a song about something really simple and like, just like really basic, because I can write a song about that. So yeah, I thought that was interesting.
That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome, man.
Yeah.
With that said, we would like you to introduce a song of yours, if it's okay with you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to choose a song, or we actually kind of choose a song for you.
Well, I think some of them I might have to choose some of them, just because a lot of the stuff that I've done in the recorded ones there's a lot of parts, and I have like I have a better worked out acoustic versions, if that's okay. But I there's one I was thinking of, because that you guys mentioned earlier, the track song. I was playing that, and if you guys want me to play that, I could
Oh,
play.
yeah,
Emilio.
please.
Yeah,
That's
if
my
you want me to.
favorite one.
Yeah, Emilio. Yeah, if you want me to play tracks, I could play you guys tracks if you want.
Yep.
Yeah. Let me see.
For me, that's more than perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Like I said, this song is just about. Is like the audio? Is it too loud or anything like that, or is the volume?
No,
decent
we
for
hear you
guys?
fine.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to check. Yeah. Like I said, this song is just about when it's raining. You just gotta. Sometimes you just gotta relax. Like if you're, and maybe okay. So I feel like I wrote it about in Seattle, like when you're like it's raining all the time. Just like take a day for yourself to just chill and like relax. But it's about rain, but I was like, this could be analogous to like other things in life. If you're just having a rough time, just like chill out and like take a day off, like hang out. So there aren't very many lines in it, so I feel like that's like the main gist of it.
No, and for me, I think that's the most important piece, and that's why I like it, because I think there's a line that I feel that is that line that what you're afraid of, just take the day off. What you're afraid of, and that's something that it feels much more for me because I'm really afraid of taking some day offs.
Exactly.
I'm so into my job in a daily basis that I'm really afraid of taking day offs, and that is something that I really hear in my job. I don't know why you don't take day offs. You have too much days of vacation you have not taken. Please go and take a couple of weeks. Weeks.
Yeah. It's like it's accrued, and they're like, "Come on, like stop." And so that's exactly. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad that worked out because that's exactly kind of what I was going for. It's just like sometimes you just like you'll be really stressed, and then you have to look back and be like, oh, it's me. I can make myself less stressed by just like just take the day off. And I don't know why I called it tracks. I think that was because I don't know why. I think it was a long time ago that I wrote that song, and I don't remember why I called it track. Maybe it was like because you're making tracks in the tracks of life or something like that. I have no idea.
Okay,
but yeah.
Go ahead, man.
All right, we will unmute yourselves and we leave you.
Cool. Yeah, this is tracks. They rained, I lost my brain. The day rained, I felt insane. The day rained. So just take the day off. Just take the day off. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of in your soul? Just take the day off. Just take the day off. Whoa. Day rained, I lost my brain. Day rained, I felt insane. The day rained.
Oh, awesome, man. Thank you.
No
Brilliant,
problem.
man, brilliant.
Thank you for listening.
All right, that was Robin or Wassie here in Deimos Orbitando playing tracks. Thank you. I really enjoyed. It's as I said, if you have X number of reproductions in YouTube, the third part are mine for sure. and I'm not lying. It's really true.
Well, thank you. Yeah. That was a fun song to write. Yeah.
Okay, and another no, what I'm thinking about. Another question that we have for you.
Yeah.
We already spoke on how do you see a good songwriter, the people you admire that has been writing songs. We already commented about Kevin Parker, but how would you define a good songwriter?
Yeah, that's a good question. And like, it is a hard thing to define. I feel like there's like two parts to that question. I feel like there's like the first one, which is like a good songwriter is like when you listen to their music, you're like, yeah, like, like, oh yeah, like this is great, and like something that and I feel like that can be really abstract because one thing that I've always found is really cool about music is that you can what you really connect with and what you really love about a song, someone else can be like, what? Like, no, like that's super weird. It's really, that's why I feel like it's really hard. I mean, pop artists like want to nail down what everybody loves. That's like that's the whole point of like pop music is like what everybody loves. But then there is like this aspect of music that's just so awesome that is, it's what you yourself like connect with, and so for me, it's like it's hard to identify, or at least maybe that's more specific about music rather than your question, which is songwriting. And so for me, with songwriters, what I find is really impressive is people who can, when like you learn the song and like kind of like a little bit of the music theory behind it, you're like, that is the simplest, like, you're doing the most simple thing. Like, that is like the most obvious simple thing, and you make it sound amazing. Like, Johnny Cash, for example, a lot of his songs are like one chord or like two chords. They don't, it's not getting all fancy and doing like all these crazy, augmentations and like all these other crazy. He'll do like two chords, and you're like, that was the best song I've ever heard. Like, that's amazing. Like, what's it? I think what's it called? When the Man Comes Around by Johnny Cash. For the most part, it's just a C. Like, there's one part where it changes. And it does like two other chords during the chorus, I think. But other than that, it's just a C. He's just like riffing on a C the entire time. So I think for like, I mean, because there's like, again, there's like two sides of like music. Like you can, I also love it when people get just like so crazy, over the top complicated with their like, just so much going on. I feel like The National is like a great example, which, by the way, I am crazy jealous that you guys met Matt. Like, I still can't believe that. That's amazing. That's so awesome.
That was very lovely.
Yeah, we can go back to that story later.
Yeah, we can get back to that story later. That's just awesome. But yeah, but like they're on that side where they just like, there's just a lot like going on in their songs, and it's just crazy. So I appreciate that as well. But when you break down a lot of their songs, it's like the underlying chords that they're using are actually pretty simple, and then they just add a lot of layers and a lot of like crazy stuff on top of that. So for me, that's what I really appreciate in a good songwriter, is when they make it look so easy, because they're only like the song at its core is pretty simple, but like they just make it sound so beautiful because it's got that like extra little thing. Like I was just telling people about this a lot. There's I think it was an NPR interview that I was listening to. It was about one of the members of Earth, Wind and Fire, and they were talking about when they wrote that song September, and how he was talking about the guy that wrote it. he had these lyrics that he was just like, what the hell does like body yada yada ya mean? And then he was like, don't worry about it. Like, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. And then like after that, like that's the body yada yada ya, like that part of that song, and like the guy after that, he's like, yeah, I never let the lyrics get in the way of the groove of the song, or something like that. So there's just like some kind of weird, there is some weird magic that people have at some point where it's just like they can like lock into like a really great thing, and it's really hard to define like exactly what they're doing that makes it so good. But I think that's my thing that I just love, is when you like learn and you're just like, oh my gosh, that's like the simplest, like that makes so much sense, but like that's why I love that song, because like it's just so straight, like when you break it down, it's really just going, it's like this, it's like first amazing transition to chorus, and then chorus back to like amazing transition back to chorus. That was the other thing. The other thing I'd say is that it's like simplicity and then good transitions always make for like awesome writing. Like people who can write really, really good transitions between different parts that just feel totally seamless are awesome. Super, super cool.
Not really. No. Yeah, that totally makes sense. I mean, we admire both complexity and simplicity, right? No, because neither of those is as easy as it seems.
I know, like the simple, like I said, Johnny Cash wrote like a chord with one song, but I bet you that he wrote a lot of songs before that weren't so good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and coming back to the other comment you made, we'll tell you a story how it happened. It's one of those stories that you could not believe it happened after it happened, right?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when when I heard about it. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I will comment my part of the story, and he can comment the part of the story which is more unbelievable. Okay, I was at work that day, and he sent me a picture that he just found the National just waiting in the airport to come to Guadalajara to that festival we were going. I mean, just like that in the airport. And that happened because I told him to take a flight a little bit later that day.
Oh, so it wasn't even, it was like destiny, man.
Yes, I was completely jealous of that, so I just had to leave a little bit earlier to work that day to pick him up. And I was like, okay, I need a paper, I need a pencil, I need something so they can give me the autograph. Believing that they will come in the same flight as him, right? And a few minutes after that, he sent me another picture where they were boarding the plane, and he was just in the line beside them. He was like, hey, look, I have Matt riding here, just in front of him, two people in front of him. Wow. Yep. And then we arrived to Guadalajara. I was just waiting for him, and yep, one by one we're coming out of the, just like if there wasn't any people in the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a really awesome weekend. I have my picture with Matt in here as.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think I would freak out if I met him. I always try to be like, I'll be cool. But I think if I met him, I would just be like, oh, I love you.
Yeah, it's easier than it sounds. I mean, it's harder than it sounds. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, and the next day we met another our favorite musicians in the world, is Nacho Vegas from Spain. He was just seeing the members of his band, or his old band has another band called Leon Benavente, and he was just in the crowd watching them playing the next day, and we were just beside him watching the band playing, and it was like, oh, okay, 2 in a row. Could not believe it. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, you guys gotta remember, musicians are people. They're just, they want to see, they want to watch like those concerts just as much, if not like, they really want to watch those concerts because they love, I feel like music is just like, everybody's inspired by everybody that makes it,
Yeah, that's actually very true. Yeah, I think Emilio just only went for me to the airport because of that.
He's like, I'm coming.
Oh, you're coming, and I'm coming. No, I just go to the airport. I was like very lonely because yeah, I went to the airport. I went for a hamburger, and then yeah, it's kind of hour for my flight. So I'm going, and I was walking, and is that Matt Berninger? Just like that, like thinking in a lot of things, but anything like I could find out that the National was there, but because not only Matt Berninger, it was all the band, right?
Yeah, the whole band. That's so cool. There's the two sets of twins, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, unfortunately, one of those, one
Yeah.
of those twins on the guitar
Yeah,
was
they're
not part
fraternal.
of the festival.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, most part of them were there.
Cool. No, that's amazing. That's so cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, unbelievable that trip. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. You just gotta love those encounters.
Yeah, no, and at that time, and of course, during these years, the National is one of my favorite bands. I mean,
Yeah.
there are months that I cannot stop listening to them.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're like so good. They're amazing. Yeah.
All right, but coming back to track.
Yeah, coming back on track. Coming back on track. We're going.
And we spoke about the songwriters and such, but how does Robin finds inspiration for writing songs? You spoke a little bit on whatever I find, or probably a tree, probably something you saw in the telescope, probably something you saw that day happening. Mm-hmm. How would you say Robin finds inspiration for writing songs?
For writing songs, yeah, that's a good question too. Yeah, I would say, it's like I feel like inspiration is something that like comes and goes. Like it'll hit me at like 3. Like sometimes it'll just be like I'll just be like kind of doing stuff, and I think of it as like a process. You know, like you just like I'll just like, you know, write little like jams like constantly, and then like be like. And one thing that I always like about the writing process is writing something until you kind of hate it, and then loving to just like be like, nah, like get rid of it. That's actually kind of satisfying sometimes. As you like write a lot of stuff, and like sometimes, you know, you'll just like, you know, just kind of constantly just doing like little things like that. But then what'll like sometimes like inspiration will just grab you. And what I found is that like, you know, if just like, oh yeah, like this sounds good, and then like, oh, I just need to do like this little bit, because there's sometimes that you play music and it's just like, it's not there. Like I'm just like I can't like, you know, you're just playing and you're just like this isn't working. This isn't what I want. But then what I found is when it does grab you, even if it's like 2:00 in the morning, like you just gotta like, which is for some reason for me often when like it ends up grabbing you, is it like around like 2 or 3 in the morning or something like that, where you're just like, oh yeah, no, this is the and that's the one good thing about recording a lot of this stuff. Like, you know, I'll just like have an electric guitar and like go directly into the recording software, so you don't have to like drive your neighbors or roommate like totally insane. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that I'd say like you just gotta like, when I don't know where the inspiration comes from, I guess is the answer, but when it does come, like grab it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really got you. I mean, I think between musicians, everyone has its own way to get the inspiration, because finding it is, I would say, nearly impossible. You know, I would rephrase something that I don't recall if it was Picasso who said that you want to get inspiration, you may find it working.
Right.
It will come to you. Otherwise, you will not get it.
Yeah.
So as you said, you can be just one day working on your music and it will come to you, or probably will not come, but at the end it will come, but you're doing something, not just doing another stuff, right?
Right. Well, and I've had like, there have been times where I'll be like biking home and I'm like, oh, like, wait, yeah, like that would be good. Like, you know, and then you got to have like your phone on you and like just like do like a little like singing thing into your phone, and then come back to that later, you know, if it does hit you at like, you know, a inopportune moment. Because sometimes that's what I think is like really cool about music sometimes, is that there is this like amazing randomness You know, like you kind of like, I feel like you just kind of like have like it's like something that you work at, again, like working a muscle or something like that. You just like, you do it. And then, you know, at some point something's just going to hit you that you like, you know, or that really, you know, makes you like, be like, yes, like that's what I want to listen to.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Totally get you. But yeah, similar processes. Probably I would not wake up at 2 in the morning to write something. I mean sometimes happens that I'm nearly sleeping and I have some great idea. I know that I have a great idea, but but for me it's like, oh no, I need to sleep.
I need to sleep. No,
I
for me,
remember it in the morning.
yeah, for me it's like I stay up late, so I'm like up at 2 o'clock, and then I'm like like playing music, and then I'm just like, oh yeah, like this would be good. Oh, this is another musician that I've just been really into listening. He does like short little stuff, but he is a genius. Like Bill Wirtz. He's on YouTube. He's done a lot of like, he's very like famous YouTuber, and like he did a lot of Vine stuff. He's like from like a little while ago, but like he just like writes the most brilliant songs. Like if I think one of them is called La Di Da Di Da Di Deo. I think it's the name of it. Just search Bill Wirtz and like watch a lot of his songs. They're genius. Like he's just one of the other one's called like Matt St. Helens, I think is another one that's really good. And he's super talented. And yeah, I don't know. He's got like I think he's just like, he's got craziness that's good. Like good craziness like that. I don't know where his music comes from, but it's incredible.
All right. Yep. I will check that out. Yeah. Thanks for the recommendation, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question I had. You mentioned to us that Coda Wassie is because you visit Peru and you like go to some place in there. But would you mind sharing with us a little bit more of that story, or what you visit? Where do you go?
Oh yeah. So I lived in Peru for like 3 months during undergrad, doing like a study abroad, and at the very end, my friend and I were I don't know how we heard about it, but someone had mentioned that this canyon, it's actually not spelled like my name, so I spelled it phonetically. If that makes so, like how you would, like how you'd pronounce it is Coda Wassie. And I thought it was kind of cool because Coda is like, there's like codas in songs. A coda is like an alternate ending that you would, or like the ending that you would go to after a repeat. Is like, so like if you're in like jazz music, if you play like through like a head or something like that, and then when you get to this repeat, it'll be like, oh, on this repeat, go to the coda, and that's the end. So I thought that, I don't know, that was like, I was just like, oh, cool, like Coda, and then Wassie was like something. But the Coda Wassie Canyon, which is spelled slightly differently, is a really beautiful canyon in South America. That's like in kind of like the central part of Peru. It's outside of a place called Arequipa. And so it was just a really cool canyon that I went to. I'm terrible at thinking of names. I could give you like a list of like a million other names. And I was like, wow, that was, nope, that's bad. So that was like the first not terrible one that I think I came across.
That's fine. I like it, man. When I remember when we first spoke and Luis commented about the name of your band, I tried to spell it like 100 times in the Google to find your music, and of course I never got it.
Right, yeah, because you gotta, and that was one thing when I was thinking, I was like, yeah, that was why I tried to spell it. I was like, this is gonna be a weird thing to spell, so yeah.
Yeah, at the end I found it, but yeah, it was hard to get.
Yeah, that's always a challenge when like coming up with music names. Like I should have just made my name like Joe Smith or something like that.
Yeah, we're actually doing this for the podcast. We're arguing how to pronounce it. Actually, it's Coda Wassie.
Coda Wassie. Yeah, Coda. No, yeah, you guys got it though. Coda Wassie. Yeah, Coda Wassie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the conclusion. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Good. That's good feedback. Yeah.
Okay, but well, moving on to another topic. You said earlier that I don't know, maybe simplicity comes in mind when you are writing songs, right? But what exactly do you want to transmit with your songs?
That's a good question. Yeah. Like, what do I want to transmit with my songs?
If there's something, of course, right?
Yeah, no, I got it. No, yeah. I'm just thinking of a good. I'm trying to think. I think I want to transmit like just this is Kendrick Lamar was describing some of his or like his music stuff. He was talking about like a certain part of one of his songs, and he was just like, "Oh, it's just ear candy," you know. And I was just like, "I want to make ear candy," you know. Like I just want to make. I just want to like project that out into like the void, and you know, like just stuff that just sounds like nice and is like pleasant to like listen to, and that like when you listen to it, you're like, "Oh, that's nice," like, you know. And that just is just like really like, you know, has that quality that just makes it sound super soothing and like relaxing and just like pump those vibes into the universe kind of thing.
Yeah, to enjoy your music. Yeah, actually enjoy what you're actually listening, right? And tell us, how is the support for the local bands in the place where you live, in Davis?
In Davis, I'm like terrible at engaging in it in the first place. So I would say that like a little bit of it is my problem. And now during coronavirus, it's like challenging. Yeah. But there are some, when stuff starts opening up, I'd love to do some live shows. I did do like an acoustic live show during just like with a small group of friends in a park during like the pandemic. Which was really fun. And there are like a lot of really great venues all around Davis that do support local artists coming in, and so I think as soon as stuff starts opening up, I might try to like probe a little bit more out into that to just try and do, because live shows are just super fun, and like it's a great way to get your music heard and get out there and just kind of like play, and just for like practice, because you know it's completely nerve-wracking to, you know, play in front of a lot of people. You know, they always talk about public speaking as being really, really difficult, but I think the other side is like playing music is even harder, because it's like public speaking, you know, you're just talking, you might trip up some of your words, but like that's okay, you just kind of keep moving. With music, it's like, oh no, like I can't, like I lost it, and it's not, so yeah, but doing the practice of just like playing live shows, like I think the Beatles like just would, before they got famous, they would just play live shows constantly all the time, like, and like that was just like, it was just like the fuel, you know. Yeah. I don't know if that answered your original question.
Yeah,
I think
it did. Okay, yeah. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Cool. Tend to go on, tangents.
Yeah. This is kind of a different question, but can you tell us a song that you like to have composed and you actually like, even felt you have composed?
Like or a song that I wrote?
Oh, a song from another artist that you may heard that you feel like you could have written that you feel that.
Oh, like yeah, I was like, oh, like that. That was my Max Marco, absolutely Max Marco. Yeah, like when I first heard him before, like, you know, like right when he was getting popular, like that was why I was saying he was so inspiring. Was I was just like, I write music like this. Like this is kind of, or especially during that time. I don't think as much anymore these days, but when a lot of my friends were like, hey, he like sounds a lot like a lot of the guitar like style that you play, and I was just like, damn it. He did what I wanted to do, but like way better. Yeah.
Any song from him that you feel more identified with?
Blue Boy.
Oh, good one.
Blue Boy, yeah. That was one where it's just that really slidey guitar, like the slidey guitar licks that are just like I don't know. That I was just like, yeah, that is exactly what I love playing.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to see him 2 years ago live, and it's really awesome. I really like his music. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great performer too. Yeah, he's just awesome.
Yeah, somebody stole his guitarist's shoe during the show because he fell into the crowd and someone just took his shoe.
Someone stole his shoe?
Yeah, that was super fun.
Oh, so funny. Oh my gosh. I think I missed this when it happened in Seattle, but there was he played at this really small bar in Seattle, and I think he made out with everybody at the bar.
Um,
Yeah, it was ridiculous. He was just like, I don't care, I'm kissing everybody. Yeah. He's a funny dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now we'll move to the second song, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah. The other one that I was thinking of that I would play, just because it was relevant, always gonna happen again, was this song that I had that was called Smokey Blues. That was just about, I'm in California, in Davis. And I'm in California and Davis, and there's just always tons and tons and tons of fires, And so there was, and stuck in quarantine and stuff like that, and it was just kind of on my mind when I wrote it. And so that's what this song was about. It was just about being stuck inside and having the Smokey Blues, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Smoke will satisfy once again. It's all I see tonight, but my hands are rolling. So let's begin. I guess this is the life we gotta live. Feel alright, holding you so tight. But see, it's you and me. I guess we'll stay inside once again. It's not love, it's what I got. Feeling old tonight, waiting for the rain to start coming down in this old town. Trying to see the light at the end. With you by my side, it's just pretend. It's all I see in front of me. So baby, clear your eyes of all the tears. All of these slivers running down river into the sea. You and me.
Nice, man.
Awesome,
nice.
man. Thank you.
Cool.
Great song. That I was just listening to that song right before the podcast, so I was,
Awesome.
Yeah, I was listening to your album, the one you have on platforms. Really good, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much for checking it out. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you to all the people that is listening. We have Robin from Coda Wassie in Deimos Orbitando. You can follow him on Instagram. Let me pull the banner in here.
Ribbon Stew.
Ribbon Stew Head.
in Instagram. I was just putting the banner, but it didn't save. That you can also follow him in Facebook as Coda Wassie. And in YouTube, you can find his music. Most of your music is in YouTube, if I'm not wrong, right?
And Spotify. I think it's on all the streaming platforms these days. Or at least that one album, Kettle Drum and Honeybees. Y gracias por todo, Deimos.
It's our pleasure to having you. Really, we really appreciate the time that you and all our invitees take to be with us. And just to continue with this interview, what do you think, or what do you try to differentiate your music from other musicians? You spoke that probably you have some similarities with Mac DeMarco, or probably the other few that you may listen. But what do you think you do to differentiate from the others?
Oh, that's a really good question. Yeah, like what makes, like, what's the unique aspect of my music? Yeah, I guess that's a great question, because you always think about, like, you know, like, I want to sound like this, I want to sound like this. I think actually, the one thing, and I don't know if this makes it unique, but the drum machine that I use and the synthesizer that I use for writing, especially all of the songs in Kettle Drum and Honeybees, was an 808 synthesizer, which was typically used for like a lot of like R&B music, and like it's used like very prolifically throughout all that stuff. But I'm using it for like a totally different style of music than I think it was like classically used for. And so that I think is maybe like a defining feature, is that it's like using this like kind of like, because 808, it has like a very very aggressive sound to it as you go through all the patches that it has, and all the drum beats that it has are like really like fat and like aggressive and really just like in your face kind of things. But a lot of the music that I write is really mellow, so it's using that like aggressive like kind of undertone, but like then like this really mellow kind of like melodic like overture kind of part, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And we are also waiting for listening anything that you may be working right now, that you commented you're using new sounds, new synths, right?
Yeah, I have been working on some stuff actually. Yeah.
So yeah, we look forward to it. And we have a comment here from Luis. Such a great conversation with three of my favorite musicians. Thank you. You guys are amazing, and you should totally do a collaboration.
Oh yeah.
You know us todos. Yeah, I mean, Robin, would you be open to collaborate with Deimos?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
If you have open to listen to our music, and I think you do.
Yeah. No, I have listened to your guys' stuff. It's great. No, you guys sound awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you. So I mean, we would love to. I mean, we listen to your music, and it's kind of different what we do to what you do, but I think there's a way we can make it work.
Yeah, no, I'd love to do like a little thing on some of your guys' stuff. I could like add, do like some guitar tracks, or like add some bass lines. I love writing bass parts, so
okay.
Yeah, if you guys need any like if you need the fat bass, just let me know.
Yeah, because we're terrible that we just do a basic bass line for all our songs, just to have something in there sounding like right. Because otherwise it's like empty.
Yeah, totally. It really could fill songs. So yeah, if you need, or like, I could do some like drum tracks on my 808 as well. If you wanted those on like one of your songs, I'd love to collaborate or something.
Thanks.
Well, yeah, we could do that. Yeah, for me, sounds really awesome.
Cool.
Okay. Right. Yeah. That was we're going to plan the collaboration, but yeah, that would
be awesome.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. Just send me songs and yeah. Or like point me towards ones that you'd like to collaborate on, and we could work something out.
Totally, yeah. So Robin, but yeah, okay. Now dreaming on a little bit. If you had the chance to collaborate with some artist in the world, we know that you feel like Mac DeMarco, right? But I don't know if there any. You can choose any artist in the world alive, but who would you choose?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna say this one just because they just broke up, but Daft Punk for sure, for sure, Daft Punk, because yeah, they just broke up, and if they would like collaborate, we're coming back
With Robin, man.
just with Robin, yeah, I would be like, yeah. That would be terrifying. That would be, I think that's the thing. Is like there's a lot of people I'd love to collaborate with, but it'd also be like equally just terrifying to like work with someone so talented. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like intimidating, right?
Yeah. Exactly. I'd just be like, Yeah. Totally.
Okay. Yeah. Now for the final part of the podcast. Yeah. To finish, we have a round of quick questions to you. There are questions like 2 options and open questions, but you have to choose. You have to answer the first thing you get in mind, right?
Lay it on me.
Okay. So let's go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Favorite musician or band? Mexican musician band.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh shit! No, yeah. There's a couple though. There's a couple. Oh shit! I have to choose one.
Just one.
Okay.
Just one.
Rodrigo y Gabriela.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I bet they're Spanish.
I think they're from Mexico. I think Rodrigo y Gabriela are from Mexico City. I think. You can check it.
If
not,
oh, they're from. Oh, come on. Oh yeah, my bad. Sorry, I totally messed that up.
they play Spanish guitar, but I'm pretty sure they're from Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay, favorite musician or band, but in the world.
Ooh, God. Oh, that's so hard. Currently, shit. Yeah, Tame Impala.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Favorite song.
Favorite song. Fuck. Exit music for a film. Radiohead.
Okay, Radiohead. Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite album.
Probably. Shit. Okay, Computer. Also by Radiohead.
Radiohead. Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, favorite actor.
Favorite actor. Heath Ledger.
Okay. Lennon or McCartney.
McCartney.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh.
Man.
Yeah.
Cool.
McCartney. Yeah.
McDonald's or In-N-Out.
Oh, McDonald's. Gotta love
Okay.
McDonald's.
All right. Favorite movie.
Oh shit! Oh wait, or In-N-Out. Yeah, McDonald's. I have some beef. I have some beef with In-N-Out. It's like people from California are gonna hate me for that, but it's fine.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I bet.
Yeah. Mainly the fries with In-N-Out is the beef.
Okay.
Alrighty. Favorite movie.
Lord of the Rings.
Favorite series.
BoJack.
Alrighty.
Horseman.
Pepsi or Coke.
Coke.
Favorite color.
Emerald green.
Okay. Favorite chord. Chord.
Like musical chord?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Oh shit. Maybe like a 7, just like 7 chords, like dominant 7 chords. They're just cool.
Alrighty. Beatles or Rolling Stones.
Beatles.
And favorite Deimos song.
Oh shit! You're putting me on the spot. I'm trying to think. I like that last one that you sent me. Oh gosh. I'm trying to remember the name of it specifically. I'm really bad with names of even songs that I like. I'm really sorry.
The last song, like the Pesadillas.
Yeah.
That one, yes.
Yes, yeah, that one.
Alrighty, now. Okay.
Yeah,
That was
cool, man.
That was the last one. All right, and just to close, Robin, I sent you a request in case you were willing to do it to play a Deimos cover song.
Oh yeah. I don't know how much I could do the lyrics though. My Spanish is like pretty bad. I could play the guitar part if you guys wanted to sing it.
I don't know. You can try. It's okay. even a piece of the song. It's cool, man.
For us, it's more than enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll have to pull up the. Hold on. Let's see.
Yeah, and even the title is kind of weird. So.
Yeah.
That's completely my fault.
Okay. Yeah. Oh no. It's sorry. Yeah. Sorry. I wish I had more time to like look at it. Let me see what we can do here. It was like, I think the strumming pattern because I watched the strumming pattern that you did. Oh, and this one has a capo as well. Wait.
Yeah, in the sixth fret.
In the sixth fret. Yeah. Oh yeah. So it was like, yeah, I can't remember exactly the strumming pattern that you had, but maybe something like this. Tardamos más en llegar que en regresar, y la distancia siempre fue la misma. Oh gosh, I'm butchering it. I'm so sorry.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great.
Ya lo decía tu teoría del cruce del patrón. Dijeron que amaros éramos iguales y los adiós siempre los amos la verdad. Oh man, yeah, sorry.
That's cool.
I think that's
That's awesome. Thank you, man. Yeah, the title it's kind of weird. I mean, if we translate it, it's like something like the pedestrian crossing theory or.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
No, yeah. Thank you, man.
So yeah. Sorry. I would have I definitely would have tried more, but I have. Yeah, it's been a crazy week.
No. I mean,
it's been a crazy week.
Yesterday, so no. Really, thank you for the effort. And well, that's all that we had for today. Just closing. You can. Well, also thank you to everyone that is listening to us, all the people that have been listening right now, and the ones that will be listening this on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and everywhere. You can find Robin on Instagram as Ribbon Stewhead, Ribbon under, I don't know how to say that. Stewhead.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, Ruben Stewhead. Yeah.
Yeah, on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify, you can find his music. Coda, Wassie. There are really cool songs. My personal favorite tracks that you can only find on YouTube. But if you go to Spotify, make sure you listen to Days Gone Backwards. So you can find his music in there. Ruben, something you want to include to these comments?
No, thank you so much for gracias por todo. Deimos, ustedes son.
Thank you.
Well, just to say goodbye, you can find ourselves as Deimos in Facebook, Deimos EG, E from Emilio and G for Gabriel. Also on Instagram at Deimos EG, and also on Spotify and all platforms, Deimos No Hay Cuerpos. You can find our music on YouTube, on everywhere. The podcast is available on almost every podcast platform, so make sure you listen to this episode and the next ones and the previous ones. We will have invitees from Mexico and one from Germany in 2 weeks. So let's make sure you listen to us. And Robin, again, our pleasure having you.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. You guys are awesome.
All right, Gabriel, anything else you want to say?
Thank you so much for hearing us, and thank you, Robin. It's such an honor and a pleasure, and great musician you are.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and best of luck with your podcast. It's awesome. Great questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alright.
Great answers.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And here we can hear ourselves soon.